Welcome to Rational City, everybody. Thanks for riding the underground. It's the Irreverend Rob with you as always, and got Jason with me today. It's Balloon Animal Jason. What's going on, man?
Doing well, making a lot of balloon dogs.
Last we saw of you, you were laying Aron Ra on a bed of nails.
Yeah, he manned up and volunteered, so it went really well.
Was it good for you?
It was exciting.
You know, I noticed he did take his shirt off for you. His armor, he has this, like, whatever that uniform is. It's like, it looks impenetrable. It looks like he would, like, lay on a bed of lasers with it.
Yeah, that's one reason why I took it off.
Yeah, well, a good thing he did, because I think it made it a little more like, ooh, man, there's Aron Ra laying on a bed of nails in his T-shirt. Man,
yeah.
You know, tough guy. He got him to take off his T-shirt. He got a little grumpy when you told him to make a muscle like 3 times.
yeah. No, he's playing along. It was
I know, but it was funny. He's like, "Shut up, babe."
Yeah.
I only heard it. So, impressions of the event?
Yeah, it went super smooth. Everyone seemed to have a good time. Yeah, it was just very chill. So,
it was chill. I thought it came off really well. You know, everybody was, like you said, was having a good time and glad they were there. And you know, that's the most important thing. It's too bad we had to start from scratch with with low numbers, because of everything that happened. But
I think too, though, that if you think of how much they paid for it, like, they all got amazing deals because they were literally hanging out with all those guys.
Yeah,
and had their ears or, chat ideas. When you're at a busy convention or an event like that, you don't get those opportunities. So I think everyone who was willing to put the money up and come to this first event, I mean, they really got a good deal as far as interacting with people who they look up to.
Yeah, it's a great point. And for us as organizers, it's cool to just be able to hang out from time to time with those people, Yeah. And maybe you didn't do it since the last event, but if you're a volunteer or someone like us who's trying to be involved at that level, you're at the other conventions too, and maybe you get to go out, have dinner or have lunch with that crowd because you saw them there. So there's that too. There's always that fellowship, And again, that's kind of what we replace in trying to mainstream the atheist community, is replace that fellowship that people know from church. I remember growing up, that was a big, my church was cool, like I've said a million times, but it wasn't about the doctrines as much as it was like, yeah, it's Sunday, we'll see what my buds are up to, get a jump on the week, at school, and just being part of the community. That was just kind of what went on. So it's fun on that level too. And we had a nice dinner at the Safe House. We had a nice breakfast the morning after the event, and some of the fans that you spoke of were there at that breakfast too, as a part of the VIP package, and you could just see it on their face. It was so cool to see them sitting there. I'm sitting next to Aron Ra, sitting next to Seth Andrew, sitting next to Thomas in the Bible, who I've been listening to forever. So it was cool. Hope to see more from the Brew City Benefit and those guys. Rational City, Rational City, because it sounds like National City. Get it? That's why we kind of chose Rational City.
I don't know what National City.
I'm just saying, sounds like a made up name. If you're if you were like in a comic book universe, our little, our secular area, our little Infidelphia is, Rational City is kind of a play on that sort of National City. So they were actually vying for capital of Infidelphia at one point. It was Rational City. But what do you got any thoughts on rationalism? Have you ever heard of that? Have you looked it up before? Let me Google it quick here while we chat.
I'm going to assume that it's what it sounds like, in the sense of making your sort of finding atheism through rationalizing whether a God should exist or could exist, within the natural.
Or as the dictionary definition says here, a belief or theory that opinions and actions should be based on reason and knowledge rather than on religious belief or emotional response. And that's the philosophy, it would be the theory that reason rather than experience is the foundation of certainty in knowledge. And the theology would be the practice of treating reason as the ultimate authority in religion, which would seem to me to be to pretty much rule out gods, wouldn't it?
Say that again.
The practice of treating reason as the ultimate authority in religion.
Yeah, which feels like at least most religions.
That seems to be that
the
would be
opposite.
An atheistic theology. I mean, that's just a blurb here. I'm reading the dictionary definition, and it's a noun, and then the definition, and then it gives 2 bullet points. The word taken as a philosophy, and that would be the theory that reason rather than experience is the foundation of certainty in knowledge. That's quite different than the theology of rationalism, which would imply that the practice of treating reason as the ultimate authority in religion is what you should do, and that would seem to rule out gods. The way I read that, but
yeah, or at the very least, all the people who are like, you have to have faith, it
right.
takes them off the table.
Right. I mean, it's kind of like humanism without the weird little dogma, I guess, and I guess maybe that's why it hasn't. But why aren't there rationalists? Why don't, with all the the free thinkers and the secularists and the skeptics and the atheists and the agnostics and the the mythicists and all these people who identify as different things, why isn't rationalism more of a big one? You'd think it'd be hard for anybody to really disagree with that. Yeah.
Real quick, what is can you summarize what you mean by dogma and humanism?
Well, I think we could probably look that up too. If you read the actual humanist mission, or their statement about that, it tells you.
Because I would think you could be both rationalism and believe in humanism.
Well, I think and like I made the point when we were in Humanistopolis, humanism is all we have anyway. No matter how you spin it, it's all human beings solving human problems with human solutions. There's not,
unless you're is it a nihilist? No, not I'm gonna sound silly. What is it? Is it nihilist, where you basically kind of accept the fact that bad things are going to happen and you're not really.
I think the dogma behind humanism is they believe it's incumbent on us to do good.
Yeah.
Whereas it's hard for a real atheist to put that on anybody. You know what I mean? As long as you're not doing harm, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But a humanism is really kind of a call to action more than I think that's what it is. And I've heard other people. It was Minga Futrell, who we talked to, that said she got a little dogma. There's a little dogma there. And then when she said that about humanism, because that is, that's the big objection. Otherwise, we could reasonably all be humanists quite easily. I think most atheists and agnostics are right in line with that.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that there is kind of a little, you're not doing enough from your couch.
Right.
It's a little guilt-driven.
And in some ways, it's combating the religious. There's so many groups who are, doing like missionary work, where you're like, oh, they're doing good, but they're really doing it from a standpoint. So you could probably be religious and be a humanist.
Certainly. You certainly could, and I think that's part of their point. And they also want to emphasize the positive, whereas a lot of the humanist objection to atheism is that atheism is a word which stresses the negative, which I get, but it doesn't really bother me because they force us into that word by becoming theists. In my world, nobody is born with religion. We have to be indoctrinated into it. So atheism is what we had, the word we had to come up with for the fact that suddenly everyone was a theist, and the ones that weren't needed a term. So that doesn't bother me, but that's where they're coming from. But one gal who came to the groups, and she'll know who she is if she's listening, she brought it up. She said, I'm a rationalist, and I wonder why more people aren't that. And I think that's a rational thing to ask, don't you?
Yeah. It fits right in her label of herself. So,
well, that's what this stop is called, and I don't know how rational any of it will really be. We got the